Hello, my name is Mr. Corbishley and I'm the Head of Computer Science at Corby Business Academy, and I've prepared this lesson for you today to give you a bit of an idea of what computer science is, what it's all about, and some of the things you'll be learning when you come to do computer science at secondary school. So one of the key topics we talk about in computer science are algorithms. So it sounds like a complicated word, but it's really not as complicated as you might think. If you've ever baked a cake or done any sort of cooking from a recipe, then you've used an algorithm already. So an algorithm is a series of instructions that you need to follow step by step. And that's how we get computers to do things. So computers can only work out how to do one thing at a time. So to tell a computer what to do, we give it a list of instructions, and those instructions are called an algorithm. So as an example here, I want you to imagine that green circle on your screen is a robot, and we're looking at that robot from above. And we want to make this robot move from here to the end of the dotted line on the other side of the screen. So we need to give the robot, which is a computer, a list of instructions of how to get there. So first of all, we need to get the robot to move from here, and we need to get to this corner point here. So what we would do is we'd tell the robot to move forward. Let's say that's 1 meter. So you say, robot, move forward 1 meter. And the robot would follow that instruction, and it would move 1 meter. We now need to move along this line here across the top to get to the other corner. If I was to go forward again, then the robot would carry on and go off the screen at the top. So we need to tell it to turn. So our second instruction is going to be to turn right 90 degrees. So by turning right 90 degrees, the robot will be facing in the right direction. We could then tell it to go forward. Let's say this is forward 8 meters. So robot move forward 8 meters, and the robot would make its way along to that corner there. We would then turn right again. So we'd be facing this way, and then let's say this is a meter again. Robot, go forward 1 meter, and we would get to where we need to get to. So we couldn't just say robot go from here to here like you would to a human, because computers need precise instructions. So we've had to give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clear instructions to get from here to here. And those 5 instructions written down would be a program and could also be called an algorithm. So we're going to have a look at some algorithms in your first task. You should have a worksheet that goes alongside with this lesson. If you haven't, you can just use what's on the screen. I'll let you choose how to do that. So in a computer system, when we program in a computer, most computer programs have what's called an input. So something comes into the computer. It's processed in the middle, so something happens to it with the code that we write, and then there's an output. We see something, we see a result of what we've done. So in this example here, we've got 4 buttons. We've got a star, a square, a circle, and a triangle. And each one of those inputs, those buttons are inputs, when you press them, produce a different output. So if you press the star, you see a cat on the screen. If you press the square, you see a dog on the screen. If you press the circle, you see a fish, and if you press the triangle, you see an elephant. So if I was to create this algorithm of the 3 inputs of a star being pressed 3 times, just have a think for a second. What do you think the output would be from that algorithm? If you said 3 cats, well done. You've understood the point of the task. So we have an input of 3 stars, and that input has been processed to create an output of 3 cats. And that in essence is an algorithm, is a computer program, and that's the basics of computer science. So on the sheet you've been given, or looking at what's on the screen, I've left the buttons in the top corner there to help you. Pause the video now when I finish talking this bit and see if you can match up the different algorithms to the different outputs. I'll let you pause the video now. Okay, so hopefully you've drawn some lines and you've got some answers. So for the first one, the 3 inputs were star, triangle, star, and hopefully you match that to the output of a cat, an elephant, and a cat. The second option was a circle, a square, and a triangle, and hopefully the output of those inputs, the output of that algorithm, you've matched it to a fish, a dog, and an elephant. And that leaves us with a star, a circle and a square. So these 3 buttons pressed would produce the output of a cat, a fish and a dog. So hopefully now you have a bit of an understanding of what an algorithm is. So it's a series of instructions that tell, in the case of computer science, tell a computer what to do. So now we're going to try that in a bit more detail. So we're going to try drawing an algorithm or creating an image from an algorithm. So now we've got some different instructions. We can move 1 square forward in this direction, so to the right, 1 square backward to the left, 1 square up, 1 square down, or we can fill a square in. And you've got a pattern here. How could we get the computer, how could we create an algorithm to draw this pattern? How could we do that using the steps going along like this? So let's go through this, the beginning of this one together, and then you're going to have a go on your sheet completing the rest of this activity. So the very first thing we'd need to do, because we're starting here where the star is colour in that square, and fill in is the instruction for that. By using that fill in symbol, we can fill in that first square. We then need to move to get to another square to fill it in. So we can move forward 1, then we can move down 1 square, so that will get us across and then down, and then when we're at that square we can then fill that in. Hopefully you understand that there. So we've now coloured in this first box, we've moved, and we've coloured in the second box. On your worksheet, this is the first example of task 2, so I'd like you to now continue that and see if you can finish that off. I'm just going to move to the next slide before you do that, and there are 2 other tasks very similar for you to try. So can you draw this pattern as well and this pattern? So try those on your sheet. And then the opposite way around, can you follow an algorithm and can you create the image that this algorithm has set out in this square, in this grid here? Okay, you can pause your video now and have a go at doing those activities, please. Great, hopefully you've completed those. When you study computer science further, you'll realise that what you're doing here, is how pictures are displayed on a screen. So the pictures you're looking at on your screen right now is a grid of colours that the computer has laid out, and this is how images, video, when you're watching Netflix at home, this is how Netflix works. They are boxes on a screen that are coloured in different colours and change very quickly. So you are doing computer science by creating these algorithms. Task 3 is a key skill we use in computer science called debugging. Debugging is when you've created an algorithm and you try to spot mistakes or you try and fix errors in your algorithm. So here you have an algorithm and you need to follow it through and see if you can spot where the mistake is. So let's have a look at it together. We start here and we've coloured in that box. Then we've moved across 1 and we've moved down 1 and we've coloured in a box again. And then we've moved across and we've moved down, which has taken us down here. And then we've gone across, we've gone up, and we've coloured it in. So hopefully you can see from that that does not create that pattern. So what you need to do on your sheet is try and create the correct sequence underneath that would create this pattern. And there are some other examples for you to do as well. So if you want to pause the video here, you can have a go at completing those tasks. Great, so hopefully you've had a go now at debugging those algorithms. So if we just review what we've done so far, you should now have a bit of an understanding of what an algorithm is. You know how algorithms use inputs to create outputs. You know how an algorithm is a sequence of instructions that need to be followed to give a computer details of what to do. It's how we tell a computer what to do, by giving it a list of instructions one after the other. And as you go further through computer science, you start to then write code, and that code are lists of instructions. So you're just using different words to tell the computer what to do, but essentially it's still just a list of instructions. I'm going to leave. Hopefully you've enjoyed those activities and it's given you a bit of an idea of what computer science is like. I look forward to seeing lots of you here at Corby Business Academy and getting to teach you computer science. If you'd like to learn a little bit more, there's a URL, a website address on the screen there that you can type in to the internet, and it will give you a YouTube video that you can watch and see some famous people talking about how they've made very successful lives through computer science and created lots of exciting things. So thank you very much, and I hope to see you all in the future.